Hey ideators and entrepreneurs, CUNY Startups here. Welcome to CUNY and Beyond, the podcast dedicated to helping inspiring entrepreneurs through storytelling. We're excited to dive into the entrepreneurial endeavors of CUNY students, alum, and bonus entrepreneurs who are willing to share their valuable insights with you. Join us for today's show.
Hello, everyone. This is Adia Johnson. I'm the host today, and I'm joined by Ricky Costas-Hernandez. He is the founder of TeenSittersNYC, and we'll talk more about his business. Thank you for joining me, Ricky.
Yes, thanks so much for having me.
So first, I want to jump into what is your business and what inspired you to start it?
TeenSittersNYC New York City is a platform that trains and certifies teens in New York City and then actually connects them to busy families that need some extra help, whether it's pet care or, caring for children. And really where the idea came from is I was a teen babysitter myself for maybe like 5 years. I still babysit occasionally, and I found it just a really flexible, high pay way to earn some money on the side and to still like kind of build connections with families in the area, build life skills like organization and communication. So that inspired me to kind of create a more streamlined platform that will facilitate these connections between teens and parents.
And what is your major? I know you're a CUNY student. I believe you're at Brooklyn College. What is your major, and does it align with what you're doing?
My major is in business analytics and data strategy, so kind of more on the data side, which has helped me kind of in the development of this business, just kind of looking at trends and seeing that there is capacity for this business. There's a ton of families that need help, and there's a ton of teens that are unemployed. So just being able to have that data-driven mindset from my degree really helped.
And what do you feel makes your business unique? What sets you apart from other businesses or other, babysitting type startups?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think that like the thing that sets me apart from other startups is that this is like a people-centered startup in like an era of a lot of tech-centered startups. A lot of people are just starting companies and then kind of just strapping the AI name on them, and just this is people-centered. And really the reality is that it doesn't matter how technologically advanced a startup is if people don't want to use it, So I think that sets me apart. And also it's facilitating connection, which is something that is really needed nowadays. Like people are pretty lonely and, they don't have connections in their neighborhoods. So I think those two things set my TeenSittersNYC New York City apart, that it's facilitating connection and that it's actually a people first startup as opposed to being only focused on tech.
What is also something that you wish you did differently?
Yeah, I wish that I kind of went out into the world with my idea a little bit sooner. I kind of got stuck in like development mode, which I know happens with a lot of people in kind of the startup world and just entrepreneurship. I found myself trying to just make it perfect instead of just getting it out into the world and seeing what people have to say, because at the end of the day, user feedback is what matters, and it's what's going to give you the pointers to change your business. So that's my advice, I guess, that I would give to other founders is just get your stuff out into the world. Reach that minimum viable product a lot faster and get it out into the world just to see what user feedback and what you can gather, because then you can tweak it based on real user feedback and you don't just get stuck in loops of like, wait, this could be better. How could I fix this? So that's definitely what I would say. I wish I had done a little bit sooner. I'm shooting to, by the end of this summer, kind of go live finally after like 2 years of development. So that's something that I wish I had started a little bit sooner.
So you mentioned that you were trying to kind of like perfect it before you just started hitting the ground running. So what did you find challenging at the beginning that you needed to perfect?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think like just building out every function of what the training would look like for the babysitters was the hardest part. Kind of like taking everything that I've learned in babysitting and then organizing it into a cohesive way in like modules based on the same topic was the hardest part. And then also, I think that I was kind of over optimizing and trying to get a little bit too fancy with like having a really nice website or like thinking about building like a software like or an app. I was spending some time. I lost some time there. So I think like another piece that I wish I had done differently is like just go out there with the tech that serves the purpose, but is not like super fancy. Like, for example, what I'm pivoting to now is just using Discord, like for the community for teens. I don't need to build a whole app. Already a great platform exists. Using just Google Forms just to have parents communicate their preferences in sitters. So that's like another thing. Use existing things as opposed to trying to build your own thing, because it's just going to delay your going to market strategy, which has happened to me. I've been developing it for 2 years. So yeah, that's another thing. Leverage existing tech out there.
You seem like you're really kind of like organized. How would you describe your work style?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think I would describe my work style as I tend to like plan a lot. I stay very organized. I have like a Google sheet almost of like everything that I have to handle at once. And then I just really leverage my calendar, just kind of block everything in the calendar. So definitely over plan. I think that could have downsides sometimes. Like I'm trying to be a little more spontaneous where, if things pop up, just go with the flow. But I would definitely describe my work style as like planned and organized.
So do you think it's the planning and organizing habits that help you move this business forward, or are there other type of habits you think that have helped you move it forward?
I mean, I think that like I wouldn't be here without planning and organizing, but I think also my work style may have delayed my development. Like I said, like I've been developing it for 2 years. I'm just like planning too much and organizing too much, and trying to make everything perfect. So I'm trying to be a little bit more risk prone, willing to take risks, because honestly, startups are a risk anyway. And I can't just sit there and plan and organize everything. I have to get it out into the world and take risks and then start to build connections. And actually, that's something that I found with CUNY Clash when I spoke at that. It was like my first time kind of sharing my idea out into the world. And like the reception that I received was amazing. Like there were people coming up to me after presenting saying like, wow, like I really believe in your idea. Like you presented it really well. Like how could I get involved? So I think that's when I first saw the power of like putting it out into the world, and then coming away with like the seed funding was just amazing. It was more encouragement to just finalize my idea and finally put it out into the world. And then the financial support lets me make it happen.
Yes, I forgot to mention, Ricky was third place in our recent 2025 CUNY Clash competition. And as you were presenting, I related to it because being a babysitter was my first job, right? So I have a younger sibling, I have a younger cousin. They would bring them over. I would have to watch them. And then people in the neighborhood would just start sending their kids over to our house in the summer. So I do really love your idea. I do remember during the presentation, you talked about having kind of two different customers, right? So the customers you have are one, of course, the babysitters, but then also the families. So can you talk about how you've learned about...
I'm pre-go-to-market, so I have to really do a lot of user feedback and just user research as I'm kind of launching. But what I know from just like being in the babysitter space for 5 years, there's kind of a little bit of a gap in what parents need. And that's what TeenSittersNYC is here to fit. Oftentimes families will go for kind of like the more nanny type of sitter that can take like a lot of hours in the week and can really serve as a caretaker for the child. But nannies are not able to fill all the little gaps and activities and drop-offs and pickups and things of that nature. So I know that TeenSittersNYC is needed there. That's where we're going to have our teens focused, filling the gaps between more regular childcare. And then that aligns with what the teens are looking for on the teen customer side, because my model is primarily college students, and they're going to have to be working around their education. So it's kind of like a two-sided business that benefits both sides. The teens get higher pay and more flexibility than any other job that they could get. And then the families get like flexible, fun babysitters that can fill the gaps between other childcare solutions, like maybe daycare, maybe nannies, and teens just kind of fill the gap. They can bring them on fun activities, help with pickups or drop-offs. So that's kind of the two-sided business model.
Nice. And if you were putting together a starter kit for a new babysitter's first job, which 5 items would you include to help make their transition easier for that first job?
Yeah, that's a great question. So that aligns with a lot of the planning and preparation that I've done in the training materials. So currently what I have is 3 modules. The first one is just kind of intro to babysitting, just kind of explaining how it works, expectations, and general pay scales, and like what is expected of families. That's the first one. The second one is kind of childcare safety and well-being, kind of covering what are some ways to keep children safe. How do you avoid dangerous scenarios like crossing the street or eating choking prone foods, things of that nature, for that middle module of the child safety and well-being. And then the third module is kind of family communication. How do you best communicate with families, ensure that you are being on time and kind of understanding the child's needs with the families. So I'm kind of breaking it down across those three modules. And then also, little things that I'm going to have the babysitters prepared with, like a list of games that sitters can play with kids, a list of activities that can be done in New York City if sitters want to bring children to activities, kind of also a note-taking sheet for babysitters when they're communicating with families so they can get down all the key information, maybe children's preferences, children's allergies, important addresses, things of that nature. So I'm really trying to provide all the support that I can. And then as I go to market and I get more feedback and validation from my teen sitters, I'm going to know how to better support them with the resources that they need. So then going to be able to build out resources then as well.
That sounds really great and really thorough, by the way. So I know you can't be possibly doing this by yourself. So what type of support partnerships do you have alongside you to make this a little easier?
So that's kind of like the talk of the moment. I have been doing it by myself until CUNY Clash. And then I saw that like everybody's working in a team and like the benefit of that, so CUNY Clash served as another kind of wake up of like, I have to bring other people in to kind of help me go to market. Part of the reason why it's been 2 years is I've just been developing it on my own. So really what I'm striving to do now is pulling other people in, sharing my idea. And really, I found big success when I share the concept. People seem to really align with this idea and think that it's a good idea. I've brought in some other support, a couple other of my friends that have knowledge in these areas after CUNY Clash. And that's been really helpful in kind of getting it to stand up. But being able to delegate tasks to them and then they work on specific parts of the business while I work on things that only I can work on has definitely been a game changer. And I think it's putting me on track to go to market by like maybe early September is when I'm going to launch the business.
And I love that your friends are kind of there to support you. What would be your ideal like intern or co-founder, someone who you could bring on board in addition to your friends? What type of qualities, characteristics, skills you would like them to have?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think I really need a technical partner because I'm not technical, and especially with how the innovation we're seeing in things like vibe coding, and somebody that can iterate really quickly and can use AI to speed up the coding process, I really would need them. So that's what I would be looking for, a technical co-founder, because one of my friends is kind of almost like a CFO capacity. He's really good at financials. That's his major. My other friend is really big into HR. So he's kind of like the HR capacity. So really that last piece is the technical partner that I could bring in. So that's what I would be looking for.
All right, so that's a subtle shout out, y'all. Anyone has any technical experience, Ricky needs you. So definitely hit up Ricky. So Ricky, where do you envision TeenSittersNYC in the next 10 years? Because I know like you're just starting, so you're going to have your first like go to launch in September. So let's fast forward 10 years. Where do you see it going?
So there's another platform out there. Some people may have heard of it. It's called care.com. And it's probably the biggest player in the childcare space. And it's similar to what I would be doing, but it's kind of a full service solution as opposed to the niche that I'm in, which is teen sitters. So they help you find tutors, nannies, teen sitters, everything. So really 10 years from now, I see myself being a competitor to care.com because I think that something that families look for in caretakers is kind of like that fun, active aspect that, nannies or other older sitters may not have the capacity to fulfill. Really, I've found in my experience, it's like I'm in a park playing with a child, and then other nannies are just like sitting on the bench, just kind of like, and they have long hours. And I understand that they don't have the same energy that I do at my age to be in the playground with the kids, chasing them around. But really, honestly, the kids have the best experience when that is happening or when they have an active sitter that's taking them on fun activities. So I really see teen sitters filling that gap in a big way. I would like to expand to other cities outside of New York City and be a competitor to care.com. I think that care.com is very big. It's almost too big to fail. So maybe 10, 20 years, I could see some acquisition from care.com. Maybe they could buy me out. That would be cool. And yeah, I don't see this becoming like the next Google or something like that. It's just too niche of an idea. So definitely competition to care.com, and then acquisition by maybe a big player in the field is what I see maybe 10 to 15 years down the line.
Awesome. And what would you say that you learned about yourself, and what has made you excited so far, aside from CUNY Clash, of course, and getting the feedback from everyone after that competition?
Yeah, I mean, I think like what's made me excited and what I've learned about myself is that like when you're building something that you really believe in and like that really aligns with what you think is a good idea and would work, like it doesn't feel like work, like I'm developing this and I'm excited to develop it every day. I can't say the same for other things in my life. Like, for example, this summer, I'm actually in San Francisco and I'm interning at a company called Accenture, which is like a pretty big business consulting firm that helps kind of the top companies in the world solve their problems with tech. And I'm really enjoying the internship, but I still find myself working on my business, like kind of in the gaps and when I have free time and after work. And what I'm learning about myself is like, I would rather advance something that I believe would work. I think that starting a business is kind of like one of the biggest wealth building functions in history. So I think that that's something that I'm really prioritizing and learning about myself, that I really would want to develop something for myself and for, my team, because all it takes is just confidence and like a passion for your idea. And that's all that all these other founders started with of Google, maybe Meta, all these other big, most successful startups of all time. And like, I know that 99% of startups fail, but also I'm just learning so much in this process that's going to benefit me in all aspects of life that it's worth it, and even if TeenSittersNYC New York City doesn't work out, I'm going to take what I've learned in building it and apply it to a new idea in the future. So that's what I've learned. Just, I prefer to contribute to an idea outside of working for a company. And I think that in the future, what I envision is it's looking like I'm going to get the full-time offer from Accenture at this point. So I'm definitely going to be building it in the background. And then if it ever hits the point where it can replace my full-time income, then that's what I'm going to go all in, but I'm also going to be I'm a little bit risk averse. So I think I'm going to be building it in the background. And I think another reason that 99% of startups fail is just an emphasis on fundraising. So I think I'm just going to bootstrap it for now and just kind of try to scale it with my own funds, because a lot of it is just my own intellectual property. I don't have a lot of costs. I'm not really selling a product. So what I think I'm going to do is just kind of take it slow, build it in the background, and then see how I can scale it. And then, like I said, if it comes to this point where I'm like, wow, I could really do this, then I'll go full time with it.
Beautiful. I know you already gave a bit of advice for new entrepreneurs halfway through this episode. Is there anything else that you want to share with someone who may be interested in doing CUNY Clash for next year, or anyone who has an idea and has been working on it maybe for like 6 months to a year? What type of advice do you want to give to them?
Yeah, my advice, I'm going to reiterate what I said the first time because it's really important, and then touch on a little bit other advice. Just get it out into the world. Like, you can't have it in your basement and just like trying to work with it in your basement, because there's only so much that you can improve yourself. Like really user feedback and, customer feedback is what is going to give you the vision of what your idea should be. A lot of the famous companies, they started as something entirely different. Amazon was I believe they sold books first off, and then like they had user feedback and customer feedback, and they realized this logistics that we're using to ship books can be used for other products. And then they pivoted because based on what customers were saying. So really, customer feedback is like the gold that you're going to need. So get your idea out into the world much sooner than I did. And especially with the AI and things of that nature, tools like Figma, where you can mock up websites, you can get your idea to that minimum viable product so much faster now, especially now than we could have like maybe 2 or 3 years ago when I started developing the idea. So really leverage AI to kind of get your idea out into the world. Have a lot of ideas cooking, like especially with AI, if you have a few ideas that you think could work, use AI to get it to that minimum viable product, and then get it out into the world and see which one sticks, see which one that people stick with and and really speaks to them, and then go all in on that vision. That's another thing, use AI to accelerate the process from idea to, minimum viable product.
And how can our followers, our listeners, connect with you, follow you on your journey, and see what they can expect from you in the near future?
Yeah, sure. So I'm a little bit of a hermit, so I don't have social media. The only social media that I have is LinkedIn. So you can find me on LinkedIn, Ricky, Ricky, and then Costas, Costas hyphen Hernandez, Hernandez. I do have Teensitters New York City listed as a LinkedIn company. That was something that I worked on about 2 weeks ago. So please follow Teensitters New York City on LinkedIn. And also feel free to connect with me. I'd love to chat with any interested founders, any students, anybody that's interested in CUNY Clash or anything. I have a lot of time to chat with people. So yeah, thanks so much for interviewing me today. It was a great experience. Also, shout out to the CUNY Startups team. CUNY Clash is an amazing event every year where you can pitch your idea and come away with real funding. So that was a great experience for me. Really recommend it to all CUNY students. And yeah, thanks so much.
Thanks for joining. I love this conversation, and I wish you and TeenSittersNYC a flourishing success. I look forward to seeing you get acquired in 10, 15 years.
Thank you so much.